I can't wait to hear what I'm going to say. My good friend Howard Katz came up to me earlier tonight and he said, "What do you think about all this?" And I said, I think what it really means is that I am now officially old. And he said, no. What it means is that you are now officially a relic. And he's my friend. Watching that video, and Jamie and Stevie and the team, I'll never be able to thank you because I know how hard you worked. I was on safari with my wife Chris after the World Cup in Africa, in Kenya and Tanzania and Botswana, and I was struck every day with one incredible thought, and that was how lucky the animals are to live there. And I look at that and I think, now I know how they feel. I mean, how lucky are we all to live here, to do what we do? Let's hear it for ourselves. And I'm really sort of without words to be able to express how deeply appreciative I am to all of you who contributed not only to that amazing tribute, but to those of you who came here tonight. And I know it's not easy, it's cold out there, to share the joy of this with Chris and Jeff Jr. and myself. I can't tell you how much that means to me. You know who you are, and I'm glad you're here. So I'm not going to try. What I am going to try to do, however, is pass along to you some of the wisdom I have been blessed to glean over the last 43 years. I've been around for quite a while, and from some amazing people whom I've had the good fortune to work with, and yes, with whom to play. This then is my Hall of Fame, and what I learned from each one of them. First and foremost, you will not be surprised to hear me mention the name Jim McKay. Two deeply held beliefs should drive one's life, he told me often. There is nothing more important than family, and the value of the written word can never, ever be overstated. And to you, Sean, for carrying on that legacy, we in this room are deeply indebted. Dennis Swanson, who managed to convince me that using Hank Williams to open Monday Night Football was a good idea. We argued over that one for hours, and fortunately I lost. But more importantly, from Dennis, he taught me that treating everyone with respect in our workplace is the most important management tool one can possibly embrace. And that's probably one of the most important lessons I've learned in all these years. Howard Cosell. There's nothing more important than Howard Cosell. And he meant it. Roone Arledge. Not returning phone calls is actually a pretty good management tool. Chuck Howard, who, God rest his soul, I learned 90% of what I know today. He hired me and taught me literally everything I know. From Chuck, I learned that it is absolutely imperative to have a police escort after the game Saturday, if for no other reason than to get home in time to watch Jackie Gleason. From Marvin Bader, treat everyone on the project with respect, from the CEO to the lowliest runner, as long as they don't spend too much money. Bob Beatty, if one gets married often enough, one will ultimately find the perfect match, and it will have been worth the wait. And my dear friend Chet Simmons, who hired me at NBC, I called Chet when I was in Paris working for him to congratulate him on his move to ESPN. And the day they went on the air, I called him from the NBC Paris office, and I said, so good luck, my friend. I really wish you well. What kind of events are you looking for in this new enterprise? And he said, long ones. And I said, so the Indy 4000 might fit into that concept. From Chet, I learned it's possible to have great success and be a really, really good man, Harriet, as you know. Principled, loyal, you don't really need to say anything else. And you said it all, and thank you for that. David Hill, as you all know who know him, a carefully developed and well-nurtured sense of humor can carry one further than almost anything else you have to offer. Teddy Nathanson, with whom I worked for decades to dedicate one's life to excellence. Excellence. Every day. Every trip into the truck. We got to do this really, really well. That's a noble calling indeed. Ohlmeyer. I have no words for Ohlmeyer. He has them all himself. What could I possibly say to add to Ohlmeyer? We have had so many good laughs. And he taught me we really shouldn't spend too much time taking ourselves too seriously, and we do. I've been blessed to work with some of the great women on the planet. Emily Deutsch taught me it is worth taking the, at times maddeningly long, extra time to make that one more edit, because it will make the piece better. And what else matters? And you're right, nothing. But also, dear Emily, for your incredible courage. You have been, are, and will be an inspiration to me and to us all. To Nancy Stern, it's okay in our industry to be a little quiet and shy as long as you knock them dead with talent. Jody Markley, it is entirely possible to achieve proper work-life balance even while your boss is having a complete meltdown at the office while you luxuriate at home on maternity leave. In retrospect, not my proudest moment. And, oh, by the way, as long as I'm mentioning these names, isn't it about time that we put a woman into our Hall of Fame? Should be ashamed of ourselves. And I mean that. Ken and Emerald Agard, who have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that a marriage and career are combinable, especially if the product is a cute one named Allie. Dick Enberg, who taught me early on, every minute wasted at 3 a.m. in the morning waiting to do another take at Wimbledon, every minute wasted complaining is another minute you're going to arrive back at the hotel later. So why bother? And when you think about it, he's really right. Bud Collins, be enthusiastic, but be knowledgeable, and do not afraid to be outrageous. Gary Jobson, a lot of time on the water with Gary and Jim Kelly and the team. But for Gary, there is absolutely no substitute. And he teaches me this every day. No substitute for hard work. And aren't we all in this room lucky enough that we love what we do so much that we're willing to work that hard? Steve Bornstein, pretty valuable lesson. The more demanding you are of those with whom you work, even when we hate you for it, the better prepared your team will be to succeed. I have no words for Howard Katz. I had something scripted, but after his use of the word relic, I think I'll get on to my next lesson. But thank you, Howard. You are what a true fan really means. My boss, Norby Williamson, having a manageable ego in this business is a really good thing, especially when one spends most of his time dealing with people with unmanageable egos. Jed Drake taught me in Africa, or reminded me in Africa this summer, thinking big is a really good way to approach things every single day, even if the project is small. To my beloved wife, Chris, if we humans could spend more time observing the behavior of animals, as I mentioned before, we could learn a lot about our world and a lot about ourselves. And she's also taught me that unrequited trust and love are possible, even for us late learners. Thank you, darling. To my son, Jeff Jr., carrying around your dad's name has at times, I'm sure, been a bit of a burden, but you have worn it well, and you do us Masons proud every day. And I love you very, very much, even though you do work for another network. And finally, Betty Ford. She taught me an incredibly valuable lesson, that one does not have to drink a quart of vodka a day to be a big shot Hall of Famer. Thank you and good night.